Hello everyone and welcome back to Anything Joe's, a collaborative journey through the world of G.I. Joe. My name is Greg Engel.
And I'm Jaren Decker.
And we'll be your host today. Today on Anything Joe's, we're covering recent news and recent acquisitions. We've got a lot of one. I haven't even looked at stuff I've picked up in the last little bit, so I feel like I haven't got a whole lot because I've been saving up for Kentuckiana. Of course, there's no telling with you, so we'll see.
I don't think I've got much either.
Okay, good, because we have a ton of news. Let's just jump right in. G.I. Joe Modern Icons Replica Snake Eyes Sword with sword mount. So GameStop has got another exclusive piece of G.I. Joe memorabilia, I guess is the right word for it, and it's a part of the Modern Icons line, which made the Cobra Commander helmet and the Snake Eyes helmet. It's a replica sword with the G.I. Joe insignia logo. That's actually not true because it's the Arashikage, but okay. A must-have collectible for G.I. Joe fans, young and old. This legendary Arashikage blade serves as a vital and primary weapon of choice for Snake Eyes, forged from virtually unbreakable Onihashi laminated steel. As a member of the elite Arashikage ninja clan, Snake Eyes learned the skills of lethal shadow assassin, enabling him to accomplish impossible tasks, always with his sword at the ready. Now, with the sword, you can own a vital piece of the Snake Eyes legend. Emblazoned with the Arashikage clan logo, crafted with an eye for every detail, this replica sword will look just as epic adorning your wall as it feels in your hands. Features listed, inspired by the 80s G.I. Joe cartoon version of Snake Eyes. That's not true. That sword doesn't look anything like what he uses in the cartoon. They didn't brand his sword with the Arashikage logo until one of the two movies started doing it. I think the first one. And then you started seeing it a lot more often. GameStop exclusive, officially licensed by Hasbro. Comes with the logo on the blade. The sword material is listed as ABS, which I looked up and I guess is a plastic, like a polymer. And I guess is actually pretty common with toys. But kind of struck me as odd for a sword replica. I mean, I guess I get that this falls under the line to me more like a toy sword than sword replica, because I have a sword replica from the G.I. Joe movie, the first one, and it's an actual sword. It's made out of sword stuff, steel, die-cast handle, and that's pretty much it. My first takeaway on this is that it looks off a little bit. I don't love, first of all, that the blade itself is black instead of a metal color. I don't think I've ever seen Snake Eyes use a sword that's black. Just in general, it's a real weird choice. What do you think about this thing?
It looks like it's an exact replica of the classified sword.
Oh, okay.
Because if you look at it, the handle looks pretty much identical to it, and it's got a black blade, and it looks like it has the stamping for the Arashikage symbol. It's just not painted on the sword, but
I see.
So that's where it does look a little different. I'll give you that. Even the classified sword is a little thinner. This looks to me a little too thick from top of the blade to the bottom. This looks more like a scimitar or something along that lines. But I think that's what they're trying to go for, is they're trying to keep it consistent, although it would have, in my opinion, made more sense to do the morning light from the movie, maybe.
Yeah, I think that would have been the go-to as well. This is listed at 70 centimeters. That's about 27 inches.
Okay.
Does that seem like an appropriate length for a sword? I'm having a hard time visualizing that.
I'm going to say that's short.
Yeah, probably by a little bit. So, I don't know about this. I guess I should mention that it has a standard retail of $109.99. It's expected out on October 29th. Let me just say, as somebody that bought both of those helmets and bought the GameStop exclusive statue line that they put out before that almost every single thing that these guys have done has been a sale item of the day at some point after it's released. And if you are attentive, you can usually get it a lot cheaper after the fact. Like, there's definitely a way to get this for less than $110. You just have to really pay attention to what their sale of the day is. Because those helmets I thought were pretty expensive, and they marked both of them down quite a bit. I think they got them.
I wasn't going to buy either of the helmets, and then they went on the deal of the day, and I was like, well, I mean,
I think those helmets retail at $90, and they were on sale for like $50 or something. Like, it was a pretty big markdown. So
if you look on the Facebook of the G.I. Joe page, they have a picture of the guy holding it. It looks a lot more reasonably sized there than I thought it would.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So yeah, size wise, it actually looks pretty legit. Looking at it here, it looks like it gets much thicker at the end of the blade, almost like it makes me think of like a Pirates of Dark Water, like scimitar or something like it. It looks real, I don't know, piratey to me.
Well, that's what the classified. That's what it does too. So.
Okay. Well, so yeah, not horrible. They do have an image of it also where it's displayed with the helmet, and I stand corrected. That display stand does actually have the G.I. Joe logo on it, and I think together it actually looks really cool. It almost looks like you have a little shrine to Snake Eyes.
I wonder if they made those, like, I wonder if they actually connect for like stability.
I doubt they had that kind of foresight.
Probably not, but
maybe I'm.
It'd be nice.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, that would be cool, but I get the feeling that's not the case. But
I will buy this if it goes on deal of the day. I don't think I'm going to drop the 110, but that's just because I could buy, a vintage vehicle at that price.
Yeah, I pretty much feel the same way. I'm going to wait and see if this does a price drop, as these almost all do. And if I can get it a little bit cheaper, I probably will get it. I got enough stuff in the pipeline right now. And like I said, I have an actual replica sword that's made out of steel, so I don't have a strong need for this, but I do like that it's an official product, and I do like that it comes with a cool little stand. The other sword that I had didn't. The other sword that I got, honestly, might not even be officially licensed. I'm not sure. I think they did. I think it is, but it's been so long I can't remember. It's coming out October 29th, and maybe by the end of the year, if you're a patient consumer, you can get it for a little bit less than that. I just about guarantee you can. Just hang in there, everybody. Next news item. The latest issue, August 2021, of Game Trade magazine is hitting stores, and inside the magazine is our first look at Renegade Game Studio upcoming G.I. Joe deck building game. This comes to us from histank.com. It is likely that the magazine advert would have been our second look at the game if it wasn't for the unfortunate delay of the reveal, which was supposed to be earlier this month. Looks like the price point is $45 and is planned to release in October of 2021. The official info is, it's a G.I. Joe deck building game. It's strategy based, with dozens of G.I. Joe heroes and vehicles and 36 unique missions. Play solo or with your friends in this cooperative game. It includes expert mode cards for even greater challenges. 1 to 4 players. Playtime runs 30 to 70 minutes. And it's age appropriate for 13 and up. So it's been a little bit since we've seen G.I. Joe in the trading card universe to any degree. I definitely want this. I like that. First of all, they licensed Robert Adkins to do the art for the box, and I think it looks great. And even though this one image from this magazine is really the only thing we've got to see, I mean, you can kind of tell right away that all the heavy hitters are available in this set. You could see your Dukes and your Scarlets and your Snakes and your Storm Shadows and your Baronesses and your Distras and your Zartans and your Major Bloods. I see Duke on the side and Stalker, even Rock and Roll. There's a Vamp, so I know you're buying it. There's a Sky Striker. I don't have a lot of great experience buying games like this and then finding someone to play them with. So I typically will invest in these based on the idea that I like the art. And then if it happens to be a cool game, although I will admit the feature that you can play it by yourself is appealing to me. Yeah, I'm interested in seeing this. I'll pick this up pretty much just based on the information that we have right now, with the hopes that it is very good, and that I'm going to take a guess and say that dozens of heroes and vehicles means it's probably a pretty limited set, and also this is not like playing Magic the Gathering. These will have a certain amount of cards, period. There's no like booster packs or anything like that. You get what you get in the box, and that's all there is.
Not yet.
Well, you say that, but that would ruin it for me, because then I would be collecting it at a different level. Yeah, I'm interested in this. It is a very busy fourth quarter for G.I. Joe releases. So stuff like this getting crammed in there is really about, do I have the budget for it? Is it something that I need right away? Things like that kind of have to be factored in because of all the other stuff that's going on. But I do want this, even if I don't ever play it, will want to have it for the collectability of the art. But I do want to at least attempt to sit down and play this at some point and see how it plays. A lot of times licensed games like this get thrown out into the wild, and then the stability that forms the game itself is not very good. They count on the tie-in to sell it, and then the game is kind of rubbish. So we'll have to look and see. I would be interested in seeing this, like a demo of this being played. What do you think? Are you going to pick this bad boy up?
I'll probably wait to see what you have to say, although I'm sure you'll convince me to buy it. But I don't play a lot of these kind of games, so it's not something that interests me. If they have a lot of vamp stuff, who knows? Maybe I'll buy it then. But I'm going to say on the record I'm not going to buy it. Come November, I'll probably have it. Well,
I guess the other factor is that if you won't play this game with me, then who in the world can I possibly enlist to play this game with me? And since you only need one, you buy one and everybody plays it. So you don't technically have a need to play it unless you get it and are like, I would play this by myself, which I guess, feasibly could be entertaining. I don't know.
I mean, I'll come play it with you for sure. Just who knows if I'll buy it.
Well, maybe we will be the first people to put out a test video of what it's like to play it, so people can see it firsthand, because I do think
that's what people want.
I mean, I think that's an integral part of the experience, is seeing how it plays. I mean, you don't have to understand every little detail of it, but you kind of want to know how it's going to play out. If this plays out and you play it solo and it's like playing solitaire, that sucks. So I will pre-order this. We'll pick it up in October and see. Maybe we can do a test play together and see how it goes.
That'd be fun. Let's do it.
All right. Next news item. All right, so this is the big one. Super 7 had put out a teaser that they were going to do a bunch of stuff, and then July 15th, they were like, "Hey, here's a bunch of stuff." So some stuff we knew about, some stuff we knew what to expect. Other stuff kind of caught us by surprise. Let's start with the big news, and that's that they're opening up a G.I. Joe Ultimates line.
Ultimate.
If you're not familiar with G.I. Joe Ultimates, and I was not really, they are basically Super 7 designed. Looks like they've been really relying heavily on cartoon properties. They are highly detailed 6-inch figure or 6 or 7 inch figures, and they're made to order. So they make what their pre-orders call for. This is an important piece of information, because if you're looking at these and you go, maybe I'll want these, it's going to be hard to get these in the aftermarket, because they're going to be made to order. I don't know how many retailers pick these up, because they're kind of expensive. So I just kind of a word of caution that if you think you might want them, you should probably pull the trigger on them, because I think these will get harder to find. I don't know what the second-hand market looks like for these figures, because, again, it was something I had very little to no experience with. I know they had done some Silverhawk figures that looked really good. I think they did some Ninja Turtle Ultimate stuff as well.
Yeah, that's what I was about to touch on. Is the only hope if you miss out on this initial wave is that the line thrives enough that they eventually re-include it. Like now they're going back, and basically every wave they're including an original turtle again, and they're doing it that way. So if you don't, I mean, if you think you're going to want them, get them now. That's going to be the easiest, because you're talking, your best chance, not secondhand, would be like at least a year for one of them. You know, from what I can tell, the secondhand is crazy on these as well. Once they are out of their release window, it's bad.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. Again, because it's part of a made-to-order line, it means that there will not be any extras laying around unless secondhand sellers pick them up. Let's look at the official blurb. First wave of cartoon-accurate G.I. Joe Ultimates, including First Sergeant Conrad S. Hauser, better known as Duke, along with the team's original Commando Snake Eyes. Rounding out the wave are the Ruthless Cobra Commander and the Cobra Battle Android Trooper. These figures are available for pre-order directly from Super 7 now through August 15th at $55 each, with the delivery of this wave expected in spring 22. Let's take a quick look at these figures. So, as I mentioned, these are all based on the cartoon properties. It's really, really obvious that these are based on the cartoon properties. Look no further than Snake Eyes if you need that evidence. The Snake Eyes has got like a bluish purplish tint to him, which is very cartoon friendly. He does not wear gloves. His bare hands are exposed. That's another big cartoon centric thing. He comes with a timber. He comes with the cartoon accurate laser rifle. He has a jetpack. He has a small radioactive isotope container from one of the first original miniseries. He has a walkie-talkie. Why does he come with a walkie-talkie? You don't talk. Henry Golding is under there. He's like, yeah, we do. We talk now. Duke comes with 2 interchangeable heads. Wow, one of which is yelling. That's such a classic Duke trademark. He has both his like figure accurate stuff. He's got binoculars. He's got his gun. But he also has the laser cannon. He has his little backpack with his shovel. He has 6 interchangeable hands where he's like pointing, holding, whatever, and his helmet. Pretty straight, pretty standard accessory set for Duke. Nothing out of the norm.
And he's got a watch.
Oh, he does have a little tiny watch.
It looks to be removable.
This Duke figure also, and Duke is one of those figures I don't think really differentiates himself between the cartoon and the comic book and the action figure, but there's maybe it's just the coloring on this one really screams this is the cartoon version of Duke. It's like something about his facial properties also, or they're just like it really reflects exactly what the cartoon looks like. Cobra Commander's got 2, 4, 6, 7. I don't know why. They left a hand out. There's 7 interchangeable hands. He's got 3 different pistols. He's got a long range kind of sniper gun. He has a little C4 bomb that he like from the G.I. Joe animated movie that he plants. He's got a cool red cape that he wore in G.I. Joe, the animated movie. He's got a cool snake scepter that he can hold. He also has a great globe with a snake, which is a real cool throwback to the G.I. Joe comic that we were just covering, where we were talking about him holding a globe that had a live snake on it. That's probably from the cartoon also, but because it's so recent in my memory, I was like, oh, well, look at that. He has he has an interchangeable head, so there's a little gray strip on the top of his helmet. If you're a diehard fan, you know that's kind of where he stores C4 in that part of his helmet. So if it's removed involuntarily, it's supposed to detonate. They included an alternate head that doesn't have that, just in case you're, I don't know, a purist or you just don't like that mark on him. This figure actually probably is the least cartoonish of the 4, but it's only because this is kind of a tried and true Cobra Commander, like. This particular mold has been used across the board and doesn't deviate a lot.
It's crazy they didn't go with the hooded version.
Yeah, that is weird. Almost as if there was a completely separate news item about it. The Cobra Bat has 4 interchangeable hands. He's got his classic backpack with all his weapons. He's got an assault rifle. He's got a small pistol. Probably the most interesting is he has some great battle damage effects. He has an interchangeable head that it looks like it's like shocking. They have included a mount that plugs into the head that is nothing but sparks. So it looks like if you blew its head off, it's just got like an electricity. It also has an electricity effect that attaches to the chest plate. So it looks like if you took damage there. Honestly, probably the most exciting looking figure out of the set because of stuff like that. It's extremely cool.
Yeah, I've got 2 of those pre-ordered. and man, I can't wait.
Yeah, so that was going to be my next question is, did you pick these up? What do you think about them? I know we talked about them when they first announced, and we were both pretty hesitant over the price point, which I think is a justified issue.
Yeah, I'm going to pick up 2 bats. I think that's going to be it, honestly. I haven't really purchased anything else Super 7. I don't know if I want to go down that rabbit hole. And then it's a different size, so I can't fudge it in. You know, with some of the stuff, like even the Mezco, with it being 1/12, I can kind of fudge it in with classified.
Mm-hmm.
But other than like this bat, if they do more figures that I could fudge in like the bat, like I could say, oh, the bats in this universe are, you know, these are super bats, or, you know, whatever, they're an inch taller, or, you know, a foot taller in their scale. But other than that, it's just with just starting out and trying to go back and get vintage Joes, and then also collecting other lines, and then the classified line, I have to have some self-restraint somewhere. And I think this is unfortunately going to be one of the things that I don't get.
Yeah, so I felt completely different. I was very put off by this price point and still could not convince myself not to pre-order these. I thought when I see these in hand, I'm going to really enjoy them. I was, and still am, concerned that the availability of these initial 4 will be very difficult to get later. I thought, I'm just going to get these and see how I feel about it and let that affect my decision on future waves. But I couldn't let these get away. These are so... It's like when Mezco has been putting out 1/12 collective stuff. I was just like, I can't believe that there's another G.I. Joe line to collect of such a good quality. Oh, and these are.
Yeah, I mean, Super 7 does phenomenal work.
Yeah, these are exceptional. Now, the next thing that we have on the list, I felt a lot different about, and that is the first wave of G.I. Joe 3.75 reaction figures due this September. We knew these were coming. We reported on these. We had like a leaked list of everything that was included, and it was spot on. First wave's got Snake Eyes, it's got Gwen the Tracker, it's got Scarlet, Cobra Commander, Destro, Baroness, a whole bunch of green shirts, a whole bunch of troopers. So, if you're not familiar with the reaction line, they basically are kind of like original Star Wars figures is what that makes me think of. They're like 5 POA, they don't bend at the knees or the elbows. Mm-hmm. They're real simple, and they're supposed, I mean, obviously the term reaction is just that it's supposed to be like a throwback to 80s toys in general, I think, and before. These are also based off cartoon properties, with the exception of Quinn. I don't know how Quinn snuck in there, but to my knowledge, Quinn has never been in the cartoon. I might be wrong about that, but I can't think of a particular instance off the top of my head. But everybody else is a spot on. Big, especially of note is that Snake Eyes looks just like the other one. He's gloveless, got a kind of a purple hue. This Baroness also is real prominent because she's got like a blue outfit with kind of gold trim. That's a big cartoon era look. And everybody else kind of is taking such a step back in terms of detail that you can't really specifically say, hey, these are cartoon or not. I do like the new card art that has been produced for all of these figures. It has the same like sunburst background effect, but they've commissioned all new artwork of the characters themselves. So I'll just say that I fought a lot about the decision to whether or not I was going to get these, and I ultimately decided that I was going to pre-order the 6 main figures, and I would pre-order no green shirts, no troopers, because you're literally over double what you'd have to collect, because there's so many like skin tone variations. And I thought, man, this is not really something. I don't want to troop build these. I might not even open these. But the combination of the new card art and the overall, again, the look of like this Quinn is a big deal for me. If I had only pre-ordered one, it probably would have been him. And I do really like the look of that Baroness. And I think that at least the head mold on that Scarlet looks good. But I want to go on record saying that overall I feel like this is a bad idea most reaction figures fall under the novelty of here's a set of figures from Breaking Bad if they'd been released in 1980. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or hey, you know, we never got any Back to the Future toys. This is what they might have looked like, and that has a lot of appeal. I totally understand that. This, on the other hand, is like, hey, this is what G.I. Joe would look like in the 80s if we didn't get a great figure that we all love and collect to this day. It feels like a step backwards, and it's very awkward, in my opinion. And I think that the divide with the community is very similar. Most people are like, this is not what we wanted. We wanted O-ring. You know, why didn't you just do that? Instead of making something that goes into your wheelhouse that doesn't really fit. Now, this is just a rumor. Again, I repeat, just a rumor. But I heard that Super 7 approached them and to make O-ring figures, and they were flat out told that they could not do it. They would not allow them to do it. That is not hard to believe, unfortunately, but does really make you wonder why they're brick walling that process. Other than because they said a long time ago they would never do it again, and they're just like, we put our foot down and we're sticking to it. Or they're afraid that it'll cannibalize the stuff that they're doing themselves.
I think also as a consumer, we probably lucked out, because if Super 7 was doing O-ring stuff, they'd probably be like $35 each.
Yeah. I mean, I might not even have an issue with that, to be honest with you.
Really?
It would depend on how they look. Yeah. But the only other thing I can think of is they didn't want anything to compete with their air quotes retro line, their modern figures that they've been putting out. I can't really think of any other good reason behind it. And again, that's just a rumor. It might not be true. And the only other thing I can think of is if they had something O-ring related in the line and in the works, and they didn't want anybody to step on that. But I feel strongly still that we're never going to get another O-ring figure, maybe ever. Period. Which is a pretty big bummer.
Wasn't there discussion after the last, I think, like PulseCon or something, that they had with some of the other people in the G.I. Joe community, and they made it seem like O-ring was maybe something they might think about?
Yeah, basically, more or less, they were like, we're listening, but I'm not holding my breath on that. If we see an O-ring figure in the next 10 years, I would be very surprised. Pleasantly surprised, but surprised.
Not surprised.
So, what do you go ahead and weigh in on these? I feel pretty confident that you did not pre-order these. Am I right in that?
Yeah, I did not. If I'm going to get 5 POA, I'm going to get Star Wars stuff. I'm not going to get a worse version of G.I. Joe stuff.
Sure.
And no offense to the guys at Super 7. I mean, these look great. It's just, I like G.I. Joe, and I like collecting vintage G.I. Joe because they're way more posable than 5 POA. If I want to get out with a 80s toy and take pictures, I want to be able to move it more than just straight up and straight down, and maybe a head left to right. And then the other issue is the price point, and that's the way. It's the same price as all of it. It's not like there's a G.I. Joe tax or anything, but it's hard for me to justify spending almost the same amount on one of these as I can get a classified figure for.
Yeah, I guess I didn't mention that either. I think the retail price is like $18 on these.
Yeah, $17.99, I believe.
Yeah, I think most people are not into this at all. I think the divide over the Ultimate line is pretty fairly split between people that are like, this is too expensive, or I want to stick with classified. All perfectly justified reasons, but there are still a lot of people that are like into this Ultimate line because it looks so good.
The more I look at the Quinn, the more I think I might end up getting him and just keeping him on the card. But the only other one that I would even consider would be the Snake Eyes.
I think I'll have to see these in person, but I can just tell you right now, there's like a less than 5% chance I would ever open these, because why would I? What would I do with them? I can think of 3 other lines in the G.I. Joe universe that would be more entertaining to play with than this. These will display just fine the way they are.
And their card art is beautiful. The card art is amazing.
Yeah, the card art is very good. Because of the retro line, it doesn't bother me that they are going with new art. I think I would rather have that than just repaint some old Hector Garrido art.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the big Super 7 reveal. They've got a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline. I think it's safe to say they've got a lot more stuff coming on top of this. Like, they're going to probably run with it, and I guess we'll see what we get down the line. But for now, certainly is plenty to choose from. Next news item. Brand new G.I. Joe animated series announced for 2022. This comes to us from HisTank.com. HisTank attended the Licensing Con Brazil event, and Marcelo Massiotti, head of licensing Hasbro Brazil, announced that the toy company will debut a brand new animated series based on G.I. Joe. The series is set to release in 2022 with a season 2 in 2023. During a sizzle reel, a brief clip from the show was shown to the audience. The description of the clip is as shown. Clip is animated like what we would usually see on a typical flashback scene, moving characters to a static background akin to Mortal Kombat X endings. Could just be placeholder concept art, barely 2 seconds. Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow are fighting a couple of enemies. Both their designs are brand new and futuristic. Snake Eyes looks a lot like a black Power Ranger. Wears bladed gauntlets like Classified Series Storm Shadow art, most popularly known as Batman gauntlets, with a silver visor. No weapon. Storm Shadow looks a lot like Marvel character Crossbones. White high collar jacket, no sleeves. Like Snake Eyes, wears the same gauntlets. Dual wielding 2 tang hooked katanas. Enemies 2 males, one bare chested with tattoo, wearing Japanese demon masks. Bare chested enemy wields double ended Japanese shoge hook. The other wields a straight sword while receiving a knee kick to the chest from Snake Eyes. Located on top of a building, maybe a helipad. Neon signboards can be seen in the city. 4th of July-like fireworks reminiscent of the intro of the G.I. Joe animated movie. So, seems pretty obvious that the hope is that the Snake Eyes Origins movie would be very successful, and that would help springboard an animated show focused on him. And it could even actually tie into the movie loosely. It might like have something to do with the Snake Eyes Storm Shadow relationship, but it sounds like they're working together. But obviously, it's still very early on, so we're mostly just in speculation town at this point. I have to say, based on these descriptions, that I have very mixed feelings about it. I don't love an idea of a Snake Eyes focused story because, much like Wolverine. They made great X-Men cartoons when I was a kid. And, well, even growing up, they made stuff like X-Men Evolution, which I think is also very, very good. And then they hit a certain point where Hugh Jackman's popularity was just too much. And then you would start to see stuff like Wolverine and the X-Men, where it was like, he was like so popular, it was all you would get all the time. And it was like shoved down your throat because he was the moneymaker. And we've seen this before with Snake Eyes. Like, there's an era of the comic book that says Snake Eyes in this G.I. Joe book. So I do worry that this will not hold my interest as much as I would like it to. That it'll be too, I don't want to say anime influence, because we've reached a point where anime is so saturated into just like the mainstream that some anime influence is going to be the norm. But just that it will be a little too, I don't want to say outlandish either, but it'll be so ninja focused that we'll kind of lose sight of the rest of the bigger G.I. Joe universe. But again, it's very early on. I have no idea. I kind of, a lot of people thought the same thing about G.I. Joe Renegades, but by the end of Renegades, they had introduced a ton of other G.I. Joe characters. So maybe it'll be that kind of a deal where Snake Eyes is the primary focus, but we see other characters kind of briefly here and there. Or maybe, honestly, that we don't have to have a G.I. Joe cartoon that's G.I. Joe focused. We have so much other stuff coming out. Maybe it's okay to focus on some specific characters if that's what it takes to make the money. What do you think about this?
First, I have to say that somebody on the His Tank, like the comment thread, said Snake Eyes Ninja Force cartoon. And I think that's amazing. I'm excited because for me, no matter what happens with this show, I'm going to be able to show my son, and he'll be able to watch it and hopefully want to know more about G.I. Joe. and no matter what happens, I'm going to watch it. Now, I would prefer that they go into a lot more characters as a new G.I. Joe fan. I'd like to learn more. Like, it's already being very Snake Eyes centric, but I'm going to remain cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing more about this. I mean, I'll watch it no matter what. I just I think we were all hoping for a little bit of a return to the kind of the classic G.I. Joe stuff, but I'll take what I can get. I didn't really think we would see another animated series, maybe ever. So I want it to be successful in the hopes that it drives the community in general, that we could see a lot more with it, or that it can evolve maybe into something I like even better. So anyway, we're probably quite a bit of a ways out before we actually see any actual animation from that, but it's worth noting that it's in the pipeline, and that at some point in the future we'll have something a little more substantial to talk about. I'll when I see the character designs, I will know in my heart how I truly feel about it. New Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow movie content dropping to G.I. Joe Operation Blackout. But if you told me at the end of 2021 we'd be talking about Operation Blackout in any capacity, I would have told you you're crazy. And yet here we are. This is not really a large news item to say, but they put out some paid DLC. It has the Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow outfit that's more reminiscent of how they look in the movie. There are pretty good skins. If you have not played Operation Blackout at this point, you can just probably go find one in your neighbor's trash can and pick it up and play it. And if you have an extra $2, you can have these skins to go along with them. Playable and usable across both single-player and multiplayer elements of Operation Blackout, Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow movie skins pretty much do what they say. And that's available on every platform that you can get Operation Blackout on, which is Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, PC. That's it. You got anything to say about this?
I like the skins. We didn't dislike the game. It was a game that existed. We played it, and now we're waiting for something better.
I have mixed feelings about the game, obviously, but it was perfectly fine. It was a budget title. I played through it probably more than just about anybody else did, so I can't really talk too much. I got my money's worth out of it, I'll say that.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. It's out there. Go buy it if you're so inclined. 3-0 announces a 1/6 scale collectible Storm Shadow figure. Well, it seems like only yesterday we were talking about a crappy Rob Liefeld Snake Eyes figure. And now here we are talking about a awesome Storm Shadow. This Storm Shadow figure looks so good. It is absolutely stunning.
Now, this is the second one from 3-0, right?
Yeah, this is their second one. This one is more like Arctic Mission Storm Shadow. I like this figure a lot. Go ahead and tell me what you think about this figure.
I mean, I think it's a great design. I think it's awesome. It looks super articulated. I don't have any of the 3-0 figures at all. They're really trying to make me buy one, but it's just same thing with those Super 7 Ultimates. I could buy a year's worth of the classified figures for this figure.
Yeah, it's pricey. There's no denying that. I do really want at least one figure from the 3-0 like stable of figures, but I can't pull a Mezco and just start buying them left and right. I gotta be selective of what I get. But when I saw this, I was like, wow, that looks so good. And it's so, like, this is exactly how, when you make a variation of a figure, this is how it should look. Don't just paint him red and call it a day. Like, they really...
Don't just listen to Rob Liefeld.
Yeah, it really looks substantially different, and it's a completely new take. I think it looks really, really good, and I would very much like to have it, but I don't know if I can pull the trigger on that just yet.
If I was going to buy one of the ones announced, this is the one that I would do.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think it looks different enough to be like interesting. I think it kind of stands on its own.
I like the gauntlets on this one.
It is $189, and that is a hard pill to swallow. But yeah, he's got kind of a camo, like his Arctic camo design, but it's more than just that because it's actually like a camouflage pattern. Mm-hmm. His normal Arctic camo is kind of like dots or like bars, basically, kind of strategically placed. But yeah, he's got these cool Wolverine claws. He's got dual katanas. He's got a bow and arrow. He's very posable. Man,
Well, and it's soft goods, which is always cool.
Yeah.
When you get into these kind of figures, having a soft goods kind of thing going on. It's so nice. Looking at these pictures makes me want it so much more.
Yeah, it looks great. But again, if you're gonna buy one, is this the one that you get? I don't know. Maybe I'm just like, maybe it's new product lust, but
probably
it looks so good. Anyway, that's shipping in February 2022, so I guess I've got a little bit of time to think about it. Whew, man, I don't know.
It's so nice though, but it's so expensive.
All right, let's move on before I look at it any longer.
Yeah, before we add it to cart.
G.I. Joe Classified Master of Disguise Zartan color changing exclusive. So this leaked out of Asia originally. I think we've narrowed it down that it's a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive at this point.
Well, probably PulseCon, right?
Or PulseCon. Yeah, so this is basically
although some people have it already. Some people have it. So.
The distribution out of Asia is kind of buck wild. It just goes everywhere once they have it at hand. This is basically exactly like the other deluxe figures that we've seen up to this point, like Cobra Commander and Snake Eyes. It's just a more fleshed out version of an existing character. They took the exact same Zartan that they've already released. They changed some paint apps to him, most notably on his armor and his knee pads, and then they fleshed out his accessory set. So this Zartan comes with all the stuff the original one did, but now he also has, he's got like a quiver. He's got a bigger, better gun. He has, I think there's a bow and arrow in there somewhere.
Yeah, there is. It looks like Storm Shadow's bow and arrow.
And then he's got like just this rundown of alternate heads. He's got a Snake Eyes, a Storm Shadow, Hardmaster, Blindmaster. There's that same old generic weird gung-ho looking face that he came with. That's just a skull on the end. I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's like, hey, I'm dead. It's
kind of cool, though.
It's me, I'm dead.
Yeah, it's me, the dead guy.
It has a deluxe size box that has a rotating wheel on the side, so you can make Zartan's face look like other characters. And did I mention it's color changing? Because it's color changing. He changes blue between the hot and the cold, as opposed to sunlight, what the original one did. This one is like actual temperature based. I don't know if this is saying a digital render, so I actually haven't seen what this looks like in action, like when it actually is exposed to it, because the digital render has literally just like changed the tint of his skin to blue, so it's probably not that complete. Like it probably isn't like a full perfect transformation, but it's what everybody wanted. And when the Zartan figure originally came out, a lot of people thought, oh cool, is he gonna change color? So they did kind of run with that, which I think is really cool. What are your thoughts on this guy?
I think it's super cool. Zartan, the classified Zartan, is actually one of my favorite figures. I love the design of it. I do find myself wishing that his regular temperature was the blue, and then like if you got him cold, he would turn normal, just because when you sit him on the shelf, he's going to look like a normal Zartan with just slightly different colored armor and pants. But I'm pumped. I've seen online where some people have said there's going to be some at Kentuckiana, and if I can find it and make a deal, I'm gonna go for it.
Really, they're going to be there this weekend?
Yep, I've seen at least one person, I should say, post about someone about bringing a few of them.
Well, here's an important thing to note, that the retail price on this is $36.99, so try not to pay.
Remind me of that when we're there, Greg.
We'll see how much it is. I would also pay a small markup probably just to go ahead and have it in hand, but I'm not going to pay, triple.
Well, and so we don't have to deal with refreshing the page on PulseCon and making sure we're there the whole time and all that.
When is PulseCon 2021?
They haven't announced an actual date, but it was September of last year, so probably September this year.
Yeah, all right. Well, anyway,
he also doesn't have his monkey paw or his snake head, so what's up with that?
Got rid of the chaff. Keep the wheat.
How dare they?
I will say $36.99 is a very reasonable price for this. I would have expected them to go for a little bit more.
And another thing that I'll give them credit for is this is the kind of like convention exclusive that I really like, because if you miss out on it, you're really not missing much.
Yeah, you can still get a Zartan.
Yeah, it's not like they're saying, hey, the only way that you can get Tomax and Zammot is go to SDCC. You know,
Right.
like there are some other lines that they'll do a figure that if you don't go to that or if you don't get that one, that's the only time you get that character.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. All right, let's keep on moving down the line. Next news item. Snake Eyes, Don Marino, Kotobukiya figure released. So we reported on this quite a while ago that we knew that they were going to make a Don Marino statue in the Kotobukiya line, which is like a real cheesecake anime manga take on existing characters. And they've done several, not several, but they've done a handful of these so far. All females, of course. They did a Lady J, they did a Scarlet, they did a Baroness. And now they're doing a Don Marino. And at the time, we didn't have an existing image of it. Now we do. I am, first of all, kind of surprised at how, I guess, kind of normal this figure looks compared to the others. Maybe a big part of that is because her face is covered in a lot of it. But this figure looks, yes, anime influence certainly, but a lot less cheesecakey, for lack of a better word. Like she looks like a pretty normal character. They've taken some liberties on the design of her outfit, which I guess is another big part of this property, is they just kind of do what they want. And I said this last time, I know these are not for everybody. I really like them. I don't care. I think this one looks very good. There's a lot of fine detailing on this figure. I think that's real cool. You know, on she's got like a blade sticking out of the base, and the textures on her outfit, well, you can tell that they're like made out of different material. This is pretty cool. What's your thoughts on it now that you've seen it?
I mean, I love like the Kotobukiya, or however you said it so confidently.
Kotobukiya.
Yeah, that one. They have some really great artists working and doing stuff for them. I'm not in the statue game, so this is something I'm not going to get. Although of the ones that I've seen from them, this is probably my favorite. I love this design. The red and black really works together really well. And like you said, it's not too cheesecakey to where I would feel like I'd have to sneak it down, sneak it into my man cave. But no, like it's a nice figure.
It's probably the most inappropriate phrasing of a term I've ever heard on the show.
Not too much cheesecake, just a right amount of cheesecake.
I won't pretend like this figure isn't still over-sexualized to a significant degree, because it is, but it is still like, I don't know, it's still, I think, is a strong figure that stands on its own. It does really toe that line between not distasteful, but a little over the top for me. But I've already started buying these. They typically waver at the $100 price point, which I think is kind of reasonable, considering they don't really come out that often. And I mean, let's be honest, there's only about 10 female G.I. Joe characters, so how many of these statues can they possibly make?
What, 7 more, 6 more, something like that?
Yeah, so I do want to pick this up. Now that I've seen the final reveal, I'm pretty much completely on board. I probably would have honestly bought it sight unseen, but I'm glad they did dial it back just a hair. It could still be, they're probably on like an 8 on sexualization. I could probably take it down to about a 4 and still be happy with it. But it's not worse than any of the other ones I've bought already, so whatever. My wife is still going to look at me real weird.
Yeah. They're better than some of the, like, I really like the designs of the DC bombshells, but some of those are like cranked up to like 9, 10.
Yeah. Yes, I agree.
They are the Cheesecake Factory. Okay, like it's too much.
G.I. Joe times Mego, Ninja Rival, Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow 2-pack. So this dropped on Hasbro Pulse like literally out of nowhere. There was no warning or anything.
Well, there was a live stream, but it was on Mego.
Oh, I see.
I had my friends that he came with us to the Snake Eyes screening. He tagged me in it, so I was watching them talk about it. They went in, they talked about it quite a bit, and like they seemed to be really happy about being able to work on the line, work with the line. You know, they talked about their respect for the line. They seem to be very happy getting the chance to do this.
I'm sure they are. Marty Abrams doesn't get to whip out a ton of Mego stuff anymore, I bet. Legendary Hasbro characters in a nostalgic 8-inch scale. Premium Hasbro attention to detail with a detailed helmet sculpt and paint hits to honor the OG characters. Removable premium soft goods ninja costume pieces with character-inspired detailing. Character-inspired weapon and gear accessories. Highly posable for player display. With collectible packaging inspired by classic G.I. Joe card backs. But you talk about stuff that I was not expecting. This is just about as not expected as it cuts. We are seeing a lot of weird G.I. Joe stuff, like a lot of weird G.I. Joe toys. Maybe more so than I've ever seen in my entire life. If you told me that in the same news burst we would be talking about reaction figures and Migos and Kotobukiya figures, like it's really quite the gauntlet of stuff that we're seeing. It's funny because it's hard for me to look at these now and look at a toy and not see like classic Robot Chicken or Twisted Toy Fair Theater. Like that's what these characters have come to life with a new generation. I'm as old as I am. I'm still too young to really be alive for when Mego was a big thing with the like DC and Marvel superhero line. So for me, it is like, oh yeah, these are kind of the figures they use on Robot Chicken. I pre-ordered these right away. I was like, this is too wild to not have. Probably won't open them. I know I do that a lot, but the posability on these is good. They're just Mego figures are so odd. You know what I mean? Like they're kind of like the reaction figure of another generation, in my opinion, because they just don't have the same, like, I don't know. There's so much soft material present in these. Did you pre-order these?
I haven't yet. I'm really on the fence about it. They're just so out of my wheelhouse. I have nothing like them in my collection.
Yeah,
but every time I look at them, I'm like, there's just something about them. Like, I don't want them to make a whole line out of this. At least not for me. If other people like it, go ahead. But, like, I might pick these up. But this will probably be the only thing I ever keep in box.
Yeah, it's a weird one for sure. Looks like this ships in fall of this year, so I guess this is coming out very soon. I don't know. Maybe I'll do an unboxing of these when we get them. We'll see. It's just, looking at them, I'm just like, these are so weird. But again, it was sometimes the weirder it is, sometimes the more into it I am. I'm like, the more outlandish the product, the more I want it.
This is one of those things that your future shelf of like weird G.I. Joe things. This is perfect for that.
It's screaming for that. All right, I think we have one news item left to tackle. And that is the new retro wave.
And even it is somewhat news. I have one in my house.
So they had the little Walmart, I don't know what the RetroCon or something like that.
I think Walmart was Collector Con.
Collector's Con. Anyway, Walmart exclusive toys did their convention, and they were like, hey, we got some new figures coming out. This was originally actually reported on What's on Joe Mind. They scooped everybody with the release information on this. And sure enough, we got pictures just a short week after that announcement. And the figures in the new wave are Robert Grunt Graves and Cobra Trooper with a Cobra Hiss 3 tank. All right, so let's start with Grunt. So, first of all, wow, I did not think we were ever going to get another Grunt figure because he's such a, like, low priority. Like, there's not a lot of fans of Grunt, probably in this day and age, as there were in the beginning. They used his original card art, which I love. I think the figure itself is a pretty good representation of Grunt. They didn't try to modernize him too much. They are using that, like, Snake Eyes turtleneck look for his shirt. I don't know if that's specifically what mold it came from, but that's like the vibe they're going for. I mean, he looks like a green shirt. You could easily get this figure and go, green shirt, and nobody would complain. And let's face it, that's what Grunt should look like. He's the infantry man. His code name is Grunt. The head build on this is a little weird, but I guess Grunt is one of those characters that, with the exception of how he looks in the comic, doesn't really have a very noticeable like face. Like it's not like somebody like Breaker that has like a real, you know what you expect him to look like in your head. I don't think Grunt has a lot of that. He actually looks pretty faithful to the card art in this. It's just that the card art wasn't used for a lot of other things for Grunt. So this is a pretty exciting figure. Again, because it's been a really long time since we've had a Grunt figure with any degree of success. I'm very, very interested in this. What are your thoughts on Grunt?
I really like the character of Grunt, so I'm happy to have him back. I find myself caring less about the retro line as we go along. That's nothing against the line. It's just, it seems like I start not thinking about it, and then they're like, oh, hey, by the way, start going to your Walmarts again. And I'm like, God, it's almost like a chore. Like, we got to start checking Walmarts again.
Yeah, tell me about it. I checked on, dude. When the Stalker retro wave came out, I went to a Walmart for about 10 days consecutively, and still missed out on them. Like the whole wave is crazy.
It's just crazy how much work you can put into these and not get
anything. Yeah.
Because they get 4, or 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that part of it's difficult, but as opposed to the retro wave with Stalker, which was kind of ahead of the curve, these opened up on the website and were available for pre-order. And so I did pre-order the whole wave, so I have at least one of everybody coming. It's just as the norm for pre-ordering through Walmart is that this stuff shows up pretty late. Just like if you order through Hasbro Pulse, you're basically going to get it dead last.
Mm-hmm.
But you do have the ease of mind of saying, hey, at least it's coming. So, yeah, this is our first Grunt figure since 2015, and I think he actually looks better than that one. I'm very excited about it. And there's a lot of great customization potential out of that figure. You can make lots of other green shirts. You could buy it as a troop builder, in my opinion, and use them as green shirts. No problem. The other figure in this wave is the Cobra officer. So they made a trooper. Now there's an officer. This figure is not radically different than any of the others. He looks a lot like his head, I think, is for sure the Cobra Fang pilot.
I was just thinking the same thing. I've got it pulled up.
That hair swoop is like a dead giveaway. Comes with tons of accessories, like you were saying. He's got way more stuff than the Cobra Trooper did. And I think this figure looks good as well. Both good figures to buy in bulk, unfortunately, for people that will be looking at Walmart.
Yeah, you just can only find 2 of them.
Weird that the card art has the red Cobra logo, but the figure itself has the silver Cobra logo branded on it. But a minor, takeaway. These are pretty much, I can mix and match between the trooper and the officer. It doesn't matter to me. I don't really distinguish between the two. I'm just like, here's a bunch of bad guys. Go get killed. You have any thoughts on this guy?
Not really. I mean, I'm going to buy one of them. I've got them pre-ordered. When they do this, I like it because I can just hit pre-order and then forget about it, and then one day it'll show up and I'm like, oh, hey, cool.
Yeah, I mean, basically we've said and there's not a lot to this. When we get one, we can open them up and look at them a little more in depth, we will, but for all intents and purposes, it's a Cobra officer. You know what you're getting into. Last thing on the retro list is the Cobra Hiss 3, which Jaren was actually able to pick up today at a local Walmart.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, look how fast.
We didn't even have time to talk about it, and then it's here.
And it's already here. Maybe that's because it's just a straight-up repaint, everybody. They just like it was when it originally released in the Toys R Us era. They took the black one, and they turned it blue, and they added a mud effect to the tank treads, which is also a Toys R Us effect that was happening a lot back then. And it comes, instead of the regular Hiss tank driver, it comes with a Rip It, who is a character they created for the Toys R Us era.
I didn't realize that was like a special character. I thought it was just, here's the driver and he's blue now.
Special is the right word. Rip It sucks and is a dumb idea, and that's a dumb code name. You could just put any old generic dude in there. Actually, this figure doesn't look that bad. I shouldn't be so harsh on it.
I like the figure in hand, but I like the regular driver.
I just, when I think of the Hiss tank, I don't think the Hiss tank has when you think of the Rattler, I go, well, that's Wild Weasel's vehicle. When I think of the Hiss tank, I go, everybody could drive this thing. Like I've literally seen everybody drive this thing at some point in time.
Yeah, and like there's more than like a couple, like you see multiple at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
Hundreds at sometimes,
Right. There's not just one his tank. They're everywhere. So I mean, I don't care about this figure one way or the other. And honestly, I probably didn't have to have the tank, but I wanted to get at least one for the collection. And again, if you were going to stock up on any one vehicle from the G.I. Joe line, I feel like the his tank is it in terms of size, availability, and price point. It all lines up, and is the vehicle that you see most prominently. It's always being used, and there's always a ton of them. Like, it's their standard infantry vehicle. So every time I buy one, I'm like, I can always take another. But meanwhile, I'm actually in the back of my mind thinking, God, do I have 25 his tanks in my collection? Like, I probably do have a ton of them. So
for me, they're perfect because they're a good antithesis to the vamp. Like, I can have my army of vamps go against my army of his tanks. That's perfect.
I totally see that. You're totally right. It is the vamp of their line, and is it's a great designed vehicle, and yeah, I love the his tank, and it never bothers me. I mean, if I pick up another, I pick up another. It is what it is. All right, so that's pretty much it. Let's take a short break, and let's do our 1-year anniversary giveaway. Hey guys, welcome to the giveaway part of the show. I want to take a real quick second at the top and thank everyone that entered and everyone that commented, new subscribers, old listeners, everybody that's helping us celebrate our 1-year anniversary. Thanks so much. We wouldn't be able to do stuff like this without you guys, and we wouldn't have had any entrants, so it wouldn't have made any sense. So Jaren and I are both super stoked and to be giving these prizes away, and we hope you guys enjoy it. And we'll try to do more stuff like this in the future as going forward. So without further ado, let's get started. The first prize that we have to give away is the OG-13 mini print. That is signed by Jamie Sullivan, artist Jamie Sullivan, and the winner of that is True Deadman Scott. True Deadman, parentheses, Scott. So congratulations, Scott. You're the winner of the print. Send us an email at anythingjoespod@gmail.com with your name and address by the end of this month, and we'll get that out to you. The next prize that we have to give away is the G.I. Joe Classified Target Exclusive Major Blood. And the winner of that is Snake Eyes Declassified. Okay, cool. Same rules, Frank. Just shoot us an email and we will get that in the mail to you. The next thing we have on the list is the G.I. Joe Snake Supreme Cobra Commander, and the winner of that is Bearded Toy Guy. Excellent username. Shoot us an email for that, and you'll get your Snake Supreme Deluxe Cobra Commander. Next up, we have the Retro Wave 4 Stalker figure. And the winner of that is Dustin McCoy. Dustin, shoot me an email. I'll get that out to you. And last but not least, the Target exclusive Cobra Island Viper. And the winner of that Justified 1970, aka Morris. And that's it. Congratulations to all our winners. Make sure that you shoot us an email by the end of August, and we will do our best to get that into the mail to you as soon as possible. We'll try to have everybody taken care of by the end of the month. As long as you're fairly prompt and responding, we'll not dilly-dally on it too long. And that's it. I want to take another quick minute at the end of the show here to thank everybody that entered, everybody that supported us over the years, everybody that writes comments or gives us emails. We love you guys. Thank you so much. All right, everyone. That's going to do it for us today. Thanks so much for listening. You can find us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter under Anything Joe's Pod. You can email us directly at anythingjoespodcast@gmail.com. You can find our YouTube channel at youtube.com/anythingjoes. And we would love to hear from you. You can send in questions, comments, what you want to see, what you want to see more of, what you want to see less of. We will be very responsive, and we greatly enjoy hearing from our listeners. We'll be back in 2 weeks with coverage from the Kentuckiana G.I. Joe show, which, as we are recording, is coming up this weekend. And we also have a special video coming to our YouTube channel where we will talk both spoilers and non-spoilers from the G.I. Joe Snake Eyes Origins movie, which we saw recently. I didn't want to delegate it exclusively to the podcast because I know there's still a lot of people that haven't seen it yet. So we wanted to put it out in a format where people could kind of listen and skip around based on where they're at in their viewing time right now. And that's going to do it for us. Thanks so much for listening, and we look forward to talking to you again in just 2 short weeks, where anything's available for discussion here on Anything Joe's.